I'm Jason, and welcome you to the Take Heart podcast. In a world where it's easy to lose heart, may this podcast be an invitation for you to find calm in the chaos. Together, we'll tune in with our hearts and distinguish the signal of Christ from the noise of Christianity. Ever since I was young, I wanted to be a pastor. Years later, feeling fully equipped, I would step into that much desired role as an ordained minister. I knew the Bible well, passionately loved Jesus, traveled the world as a missionary, and experienced the presence of God deeply in mystic marvel. But there were things missing in my maturity and development. I would experience these deep encounters with God, yet I was exhausted trying to manage my internal friction and overwhelm in life. I had this rich prayer life, had the Bible verses all memorized, read the books, many of them, and was steadfast in my spiritual disciplines. But I couldn't seem to get my nervous system to catch up with my theology. I wondered if God was always with me, then why did his peace and joy only stay on occasion? And earnest effort to find out these answers. I hit conferences, I sought out mentors and found a lot of momentum. Yet those real times of breakthrough, they just didn't last. I didn't have the relational maturity to sort out the signal of Christ amidst the craziness of Christianity. My church training and experience didn't really equip me how to engage in difficult conversations and how to bring repair to ruptured communication. My mentors, they didn't show me how to express or fully feel my feelings. And by default, I wore armor to protect myself from truly being seen. And this cage around my heart, it not only kept people out, but it caged me in, causing me to lose power I didn't even know I was losing. You may think that a pastor automatically comes with a high level of built-in relational awareness and emotional maturity, but this pastor was struggling to return to joy from difficult emotions, and I was frustrated. I had witnessed other ministers and Christ followers burn out, being motivated by duty rather than delight. And I knew that I was going to have a breakdown if I didn't do something different. I was stuck and unaware of the healing, maturity, and awareness that I needed, and something had to change. I was beginning to realize that the pain that was buried deep within me also was ruling me. And avoiding pain in my life, it meant I was avoiding these painful emotions. And those buried emotions eventually disrupted my peace, fractured my focus, and stole my passion. I could no longer stay in the story loop of my frenetic mind. I was compelled to go deeper, knowing that in order to bring order to my external world, I first needed to bring order to my internal one. And this meant descending into the abyss of my heart to excavate those places that were easily triggered. And this is when I asked myself the question, what if everything I want is buried under everything I didn't want? I needed someone in my life that was able to show me how to process my pain and transform that pain into power so that I would no longer transmit that pain onto those closest to me. Growth is painful, but there's nothing as painful as staying stuck. And I know what it's like to want to avoid it. Life is hard. I get it. I understand. I've been through the crucible of agony myself. But I've also found that wherever the serpent has bitten me, I now have authority to heal others. I am no stranger to pain, to deep pain. I've been to the edge. I've buried my wife. And I didn't even know that level of pain even existed. But here's the thing, that pain cannot compare to the comfort I've been given. Much like Samson finding that dead lion on the side of the road in the book of Judges, He wasn't meant to touch death, but he did, and so did I. But in the midst of the riven chest of that beast, he found something, and he found honey. And I feel as if my chest has been torn in two with the bitterness of bereavement, yet deep within, I've touched honey from heaven. And I found that the otherworldly experiences in my prayer life have been a hive of sweetness for many to dip their rod of suffering. As a trainer and facilitator with Luke 10, I've been privileged to put language to some of these experiences as I facilitate and train people around the world. Our passion is to create vibrant, joy-fueled families of Jesus within communities of practice. And this is where I've learned this upgrade in relational technology, these relational skills of neurotheology that have helped to bring sustainable rhythms of peace and joy in my body and mind. As I said earlier, I knew I needed transformation, but I wasn't able to find it in the many books I've read or within the four walls of our modern day church structure. I knew my identity in Christ, but I also needed belonging. And I've since discovered that identity plus belonging equals transformation. And I've now found that the key to transformation is hidden within a community of belonging, that community is that's glad to be together no matter what. That community where we check in regularly and where we listen to Jesus and practice relational attunement with one another. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if you trained your mind for peace and for power and for presence every day? Imagine your life a year from now with your mind at rest, your heart untroubled, and your body at ease. I'm inviting you to join our community of identity and belonging, where you'll learn how to transform your pain into power, your hurt into healing, and your wounds into wisdom. Start living the life of presence, peace, and power you've always imagined. Learn how to develop a majestic mindset trained to align your heart with His for comfort and courage every day. You'll show up with more emotional agility and spiritual intelligence in every area of your life. As Jesus said, take heart. I will show you how. We really appreciate you listening to this episode of the Take Heart podcast. Are you longing for deep and meaningful spiritual community? Do you desire heart-to-heart connection with God and others? How can we take heart again so that we can give heart to others? We'd like to invite you into a community of practice, a people of belonging and bliss. More than mere talk, we practice. Why does practice matter? Well, practice matters because maturity matters. If you can't lead yourself well, how can you lead others? Consider joining us for an intro call at luke10.com, lk10.com, to explore what a safe and secure experience looks like to build, develop, and implement skills of relational connection and emotional intelligence so that we can become vibrant and joy-fueled families of Jesus. Jesus, Master of Hearts, said, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. May you continue to take heart, one podcast at a time.